this session. I'll be your host for today. I am Aiman Ansari from Noventiq. I'm from Mumbai. I'm part of the solutions team where I help customers, you know, uh, modernize the way they work. I've been in this industry for more than a decade now, almost 12 years now, this June, and I've worked in a post-sales and pre-sales role with many different OEMs catering to different pillars of cybersecurity, starting from threat protection to data security, to security operations center to identity management, monitoring, device management, and so on. And here I've been focusing on M365, helping customers adopt how they are using their AD environments, modernizing the way they authenticate, how they access things in their environment, helping them understand the better ways to have control over BYOD, which is your mobiles and tablets, helping them secure that. Not only that, the devices they use for work and what eventually they access, whether it's a server in AWS or GCP or any application sitting in a data center in a private cloud or any open source database on Azure, right? Helping them align with industry regulations. More recently, DPDP. In the past, it has been GDPR, ISO 27000, NIST, and CIS benchmarkings. Okay, before starting, Chetan, just acknowledge if you can hear my voice and you can see my screen. I need someone to acknowledge before I move ahead.
Oh, yes, Aman, we can see.
Thank you. Okay, so agenda for today is split across, understanding what we do, what Noventiq is, and what is E7? That's the latest word in the market, right? It was announced very recently. What is agentic AI? How does it fit in your environment, and how really to manage and secure and govern it? And what will be the controls required to adhere to the baselining and industry requirements? Again, DPDP could be a more relevant thing, I would say regulation that you are discussing with respect to everything in your organization, right? So again, it may not be just one regulation, how to secure, govern, as to, the regulations which are subjected to your company. Okay. So we're leading Microsoft partner. We are headquartered in London. In India, Mumbai is our HO. We have been there for more than like 14, 15 years now in India. And we have close to, I would say, more than 1,000 people who are driving the sales, who are doing the consultation, helping customers adopt, so success managers, account managers, BDMs, pre-sales make up more than, close to 1,000 people, and another set of 2,500 or 3,000 people who are deployed at customer locations, who and sitting at our own data centers, our own delivery centers, who support our customers 24/7, right? Who deploy the project and who give FMS service to the customers. We have the credentials to support all Microsoft technology, the entire stack. So if you see on the screen, I've mentioned a couple of credentials which are related to AI, Azure, digital app innovation, security, modern work, business applications. So we can, of course, you can create, we can help you create apps, innovate or modernize your existing applications also, help you improve the way you are managing things, secure them, lift and shift to Azure as well. Or maybe if you're a new entity, you're looking at creating something new, have I would say a fully cloud native startup as well. We can help you with those things. We have our SOC based out of Bangalore, right? It's been operational for the last 6 years now. And we have a global delivery center based out of Noida, Gurgaon. Uh, that's a buzzword, AI. That's really driving many motions today, right? Most of the investments are driven because of AI, around AI, and everyone has been using it in some capacity. Some are observing, some are trialing, some have subscribed to a few in personal capacity, if not enterprise. But yeah, many have started using in enterprise as well. They have rolled out to all users, many to selected users where there is, you need a business intelligence or you need It's a repetitive task, RPA, robotic process automation, and helping your finance, helping your legal, helping your back office create something, improve something, answer to something, or reply and in an email to something, right? It could be anything, but it's impacting your cloud, you're impacting your data, impacting your devices because agents are sitting. It could be a dedicated agent, it could be a delegated agent, right? Everyone has viewed and subscribed to either OpenAI, GPT, Gemini, Claude, right, Copilot, anything, one of it at least, right? So it's there. It's interacting with your applications. It's interacting with your device. It uses your authentication. So it's been lying in your environment. Do we have complete visibility? Can we answer everything to an auditor? Can we control everything that it's doing, right? And can we have it audited when required, right? So that's the call of the hour. I would say Microsoft has answered with E7, their latest frontier suite out there, which really gives you the productivity suite, gives you the entire security and compliance stack, along with the Agent 365, which is the control plane for agents. And agents means everything, all agents that you have probably, whether you created in M365, Azure, Foundry, Copilot Studio, Vertex, you can do an SDK integration. Couple of times you can do an API integration. So all there. And the stack is there to cater to the entire requirement of, managing the access, managing the device and application deployment, unenrollments, their versioning or securing them from threats, complying to DLP requirements, classifying your data, learning about insider threats, adhering to global regulations like DPDP, ISO, and CIS, right? And that's meant not only for the users, it's for the agents also. So earlier we only applied the policies to users and devices. Now you can apply to agents. How do you do it? Wi- you will be applying it to agent ID. Just like you have a user ID, when you register the agent in M365, it gets an agent ID. So you can apply, you can extend an existing policy or create a new one. The goal is to have the same controls on that agent behavior that you have applied to yourself, right? Because it's probably your agent or acting on your behalf or working as part of your team or doing your work, right? Your team's work. So similar controls, similar regulations will apply to them because they are touching the same kind of data. Or they're supposed to touch the same kind of data, right? We also have a first customer in May. We closed that in May, end of May, for close to 250 seats. It's an ITES customer. They are more in strength, like close to no more than 5-6,000. But the reason for that 250 seats is for those, I would say, privileged or and high level roles, they have the co-pilots as well. They have agents or assigned to them also, and that's where you need the complete control. I mean, I cannot really leave an agent doing whatever they want, right? So when you probably are a privileged user, you have access to privileged things, intellectual property. You have access to agents doing the work on behalf of you, for you. Then that's when probably you need the control. So that's what the customer did. They bought the E7 to have the controls for their entire agentic users. If I break it up commercially, it makes sense to go for E7. You can add up the dollars. It's more than 100, right? It's more probably 105 or something, or more than that, right? So 110, close to more than that. So you probably pay $99 per user, and that's the market price. Probably you go through a partner, there will probably be some discounts to that. That's the breakage of the E7 components. E5, most of y'all have known E5, right? You get your Intunes and Intras and everything. And Intra suite is, I would say, a more recent suite, which was announced to cater to the ZTNA requirements. I'll go through it. I have a lot of customers now using it, and also at the same time, I've seen a traction around the ZTNA, especially with respect to the access management. That's a new perimeter, right? Nobody really right now creates complexity on a firewall. It's pretty static nowadays. It's all about the identity, right? Copilot many of you probably will have used Copilot in some capacity. In more generic scenarios, it's used for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, your Outlook, your Teams to summarize, to generate something, or look for data in your environment, right? Right. You beautify things, what you want to present. That's the very basic use cases, right? And agent is for the last component. It's probably meant for the agentic plane. These things, the three components, do not really give you visibility about the risks associated to an agent. This is what will give you. Okay. It's not that without this, I cannot have agents. No, you can still have agents in your current environment, whether you have an E3, you have an E1 or any E5 or Office license or EMS or Business Suite, Business Basic, whatever the combination could be, you can still use agents. No one is stopping you to register in Intra. Probably yes, they will get the SSO, the controls that are there in your current license. But the risks associated are more, are shown when you have the Agent 365. I'll come to that part where what kind of telemetry you get. A few more things I want to highlight is the recent additions that are announced for the existing E3 and E5. Just want to take a break from E7. Like, many of you will have ME3 in some capacity and few will have E5 as well. So going ahead, just look forward to when you renew your upcoming renewals on new purchases will have Defender for Office as part of Office E3 and ME3 as well. Earlier, this was a separate add-on and usually part of the E5 Defender Suite and E5 licenses. Now it's going to be part of Office E3 and ME3 as well. Do unmute and speak if you have questions. I think you all have that option. Don't wait for the end. Of course, you can put your questions in the chat, but yeah, feel free to unmute and speak as well. So Defender for Office is the ideal email gateway solution, just like it compares to your Barracudas and Proofpoint and Mimecast and so on. You get this as part of your Office E3 license and ME3 when you renew after July 1, right? And few more inclusions, especially in the Intune part, is the remote help. This is like a quick assist, but in a very auditable manner. People use Teams viewer and all. You'll get this as part of the EMS and the ME3 licenses. Analytics, where there'll be some device related analytics given to you with remediation options, and tunnel for your personal unmanaged mobile devices. If you need access to your internal resources which are not exposed, right, then you can create a tunnel via the Defender application in your personal mobiles. So that is, I'm not managing the mobile, but still I'll have control and I'll give you access to internal resources in a secured way. This is going to be part of your EMS and ME3 licenses. The rest is going to be part of the E5, existing E5 when they renew. So this is like, you need access to run a privileged task. You actually go to the admin, they take access of your system, and with their own credentials, they run the application, they install the application or do some changes. So this will eliminate that part. You yourself can request an elevated role, a privileged role for, 1 or 2 hours, half an hour, and will be, removed after that duration. With this, you can manage the updates of your applications from the central console. This, if you want to set up a cloud-based PKI, many of you with an on-prem AD and ADFS will probably have an on-prem PKI architecture. But if you wish to move away, Intune Suite will be part of EFI and will support your PKI requirements. This is the most interesting bit with respect to managing your security. This was till now a pay as you go model in Azure. So you paid as you put in the prompts, you consume the resources, you paid for it, you know, as the prompts went in, as the consumption went in. Now with your ME5 licenses, you'll have probably a good batch of consumption units available to you every month. This is refreshed every month. So for every 1,000 E5 licenses, you get 400 security consumption units. That's not a capping. If you have 500, you get 200 SUs. If you have 100 licenses, you get 40 SUs. And those are still enough for I would say, small to mid-level organization, right? Just like the copilots existed for Word, Excel, and Outlook and Teams, this will be for your Entra, Defender, Intune, and Purview. Also for your Sentinel as well. So you can query, you can do some retrospective analysis, reverse engineer a malware script, create a report, a quick CSV report for your CISO with respect to the top 10 incidents, top infected, top high risk users or devices with respect to whatever you want, right? You define things. If the data exists in your M365, it's going to pull out, it's going to share, it's going to help deconstruct, right? Understand existing incidents and policies, understand the retrospective policies. Like some new admin came in, someone just absconded your company, someone new came in. Let me understand the current five policies which are there, how is it impacting the users? Are there any user left out of the policy? Are there any groups or any user which is not part of this particular group, right? Any privileged user which is there in exclusion. So any roaming user which is there in exclusion, any guest user, right? We can find out people who have been added as guest users in your organization in the last 1 or 3 months. You usually do that in your Entra ID when you have freelancers and auditors in your organization and they want to access your SharePoint and other apps for auditing, your CRM, for example. You give them access via Entra ID. You add them as guest users. It's free, right? In your EMS license, you get a lot of thousands of guest users free every month. So you add them and it's left unattended sometimes, right? So you can see, how many IDs have not accessed, have not signed in the last 30 days. So probably you have your still entries there itself, right? So keep in mind, any renewal or new purchase happening after the 1st of July is going to get these capabilities. All right, back to the again. Entra Suite. This is, you can say, a complete ZTNA part for your all your access requirements. Ideally, the most ideal scenario is you should have complete control whether any employee or agent ID, right, coming from any location, sitting at a Starbucks or airport, railway station, headquarter, branch office, using any platform, any device, whether it's corporate or personal, that is managed or unmanaged. You should have complete control when they are accessing your internal on-premises resources, any SaaS websites, applications, or internal data center resources, or any AI application. You should have visibility, you should have control. So probably you want to block access from countries except the Asian countries. You can do so. You want to enforce MFA for every access outside your company, possible. You you want to block access to certain AI apps, doable. Or allow access to only certain, block everything, doable. Do a web filtering policy, block access to all AI apps, just exempt a few, right? And you want to check device compliance, whether device is domain joined, check it. Device is managed by Intune, there's BitLocker on it, there's an antivirus running on it, right? There's a TPM version 2.0 running on it. So all those things can be addressed using the Entra Suite. If I break it into components, uh, there are five components in the Entra Suite. The probably the foundation is the Entra Plan one, which you have via the EMS licenses, Business Premium, or ME3 and standalone licenses, right? Where you have your MFA, SSO, and conditional access. These things build on top of that. Enterplan 2 will help you design dynamic policies. If today I say ki, if it's a domain joined device and BitLocker encrypted, give him access, right? That's not enough. What if I use Tor browser to access my applications? No, that should increase the risk. Or I have a bad habit of putting wrong passwords, like five wrong passwords after before putting the right one. That's a risk. I have a lot of violations against my name in the M365, a lot of incidents against my name, a lot of alerts against my name. That should increase the risk. Or if my device is non-compliant, my device is not upgraded since April or since January, that's a risk, right? Or my mobiles could be rooted, jailbroken, and so on. So I can factor many things when I'm designing risk-based policies. PIM is for your access approval workflow. Whenever someone joins, you give him access. Many a times leave that unattended. The person moves through the hierarchy, moves through departments, locations, and leaves, and the access still stays. Happens mainly in small and medium mid-sized organizations where, if some admin or security guy has moved from his role, probably the one taking over will take a lot of time to get hold of things, right? That's where the gap gets created. So your privileged, least privilege rule goes up for a toss. This helps you define that. If someone needs access, let him go to an approver. Approver number one, maybe approver number two. Give him access for 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months, or till 31st of March. That's your wish. You define the access period. After that, he will request access if he needs it. So let's renew based on request. So it's properly logged, audited. You don't have to really worry about overprivilege and unmonitored privileges, unmonitored access, and so on, right? It's very well defined over here. So define access to all your Office apps, all your virtual desktops, your Citrix or your Slack box, Dropbox, GWS, S3 buckets, and so on. Right? Private access is a VPN. I did this for a bank recently. We replaced their VPN component, and yes, it's very granular. It can help you segment it based on application, the network. Probably you want to define, other factors like operating system, or you want to give a browser-based access or a client-based access. You want to give access to, maybe on Windows, not on Linux, or just Mac. You can define based on OS also. So all your intra signals are also leveraged when defining the VPN profiles. Right? It's a proper VPN helps you define. Let's say protocol agnostic. Whatever you are accessing inside your premises, right? It's a database or a file server, any version of SAP, right? Any flavor of SAP, any Oracle application database, any OCI infrastructure. You can define the way you want based on IP or whatever. SWG is a secure web gateway, your proxy, right? Again, I did this for two customers. One is ITES, one is a bank, and probably you know what it does. It's a forward proxy, web filter it, TLS inspection, define what you want to give access to, block what you don't want. It learns also on its, so probably with time it learns, it understands. Define different policies for different types of apps, corporate apps, different policy, non-corporate apps, different policy, free web, different policy, block gambling, nudity, etc. Doable, right? What do we need over here? The agent sits on your laptop, and agent sits inside your premise for the VPN, not for the proxy. Sorry, the proxy there won't be anything. So for your laptops, there'll be an agent. The same agent will connect to an internal connector, which will talk to all the applications, all those resources that you have. So there's no database or on-prem server or console that you deploy. It's just an agent on your laptop and one agent in your premises when you want to give VPN access. Another solution which is I'm seeing a lot of traction across all domains. I've gone through RFPs coming in from banks, from ITES as well, and it's across domains. I wouldn't really bind it to any particular vertical or domain right now. I've seen a lot of traction over here. This helps you create a workflow for every scenario with respect to the user or agent in your organization. Ideally, there are 6 or 7 scenarios when you join, another set of 6, 7, 8 scenarios when you move, get promoted, move across departments, IJPs, different countries, whatever happens, and 7 or 8 scenarios when you leave, right? So when you put your paper, few days before your last day, on the last day, 15 days after the last day, same for the joiners, and same when you're moving, right? When you get promoted, after promotion, during probation, at the time of probation. So all those things that need to happen, like asset management, asset initiation, Teams ID creation, email ID creation, addition in groups, or manager intimation, or maybe desk allocation and ID removal, license removal, backup initiation, right? Retention and backup initiation, letting people know that you need to back up the data, decrypt the data, clean the data, wipe the data, and so on. So all those things can be defined in workflows aligned with these requirements, which happen in, when you get the context from your HRMS. So your HRMS integration with your AD gives context. When the status changes in your HRMS, it reflects in M365, and the solution will act when that status changes. So probably a different workflow for different scenario, and removes the IT overhead, removes the overhead from the HR also, from the finance also, from the mainly from the IT, I would say rather, right, from the HR and IT. And yes, there are a couple of machine learning assisted recommendations also, like unused things, or maybe a lot of repetitions happening and so on. So there are a couple of indicators for you to act also, right? And verified ID is similar to your Credly, right? We've all done certifications. We post it on LinkedIn, and our friends and everyone go there and click on the Credly link, and it shows that you are a CCIE and you've done a CEH, or you've done some ISO 27001 certification from ISACA, ISC Square, and so on, right? It validates who you are, from where, what time, what is the your probably uh, your employer can verify things, right? See the verified, see the expiry date, and who's the authority, signing authority, legitimacy, and everything. So it does similarly. It's a decentralized identity management solution, and it helps you probably manage your identity in a store, in a wallet, where when you authenticate somewhere, it just does what you do accurately, right? There's a store which validates on behalf of you, and you've given it permission to do it, right? It checks in the M365 that, yeah, this person is the same as that. This is all part of Enter Suite. These are all standalone solutions as well. You can buy them a la carte as well. It's a suite. It makes sense. It makes sense commercially. But yeah, in case your requirement is only the VPN, yes, doable. You can add it on top of your EMS, Business Premium, ME3 licenses. If your requirement is only SWG or lifecycle management, again, doable. These are a la carte requirement. These also just a la carte requirement. Okay, moving on. I'll just pause for 10 seconds. If there are any questions, please unmute, and then let's move to the next part.
Hi, Aman. Deepak this side.
Yes, Deepak.
So two questions. One related to the TESI you mentioned
Yes.
in the previous slide. So what about if the TESI get consumed?
Yeah, I'll use this slide. So it refreshes every month.
Okay, so every month we get that the same amount of that SEUs, right?
Yes, sir. This is the rate. So 400 SUs for every 1,000 license. This is pro rata. So 2,000 users, you'll get 800. 100 licenses, you'll get 40 SUs. That's how it is.
Great.
And every month
And
refreshed.
okay, great. And for that verified ID, is it a company specific vault or is it like a Microsoft level?
It's your own tenant, but yeah, it's a Microsoft solution. It will be in your own tenant. It's an Azure service that's now blended in this thing, right? So you map your Azure subscription over here, and then you can use that.
So as I understand, like this is just like a Cradley you mentioned, right? So
Yes.
if we do some kind of a certifications and we do have a part of that verify ID, all
Yeah.
the certification are going to be published on that itself, is it?
Yes. Similarly, you will see, you authenticate and give you're supposed to sign in many places, right? So somewhere it is required, your identity proof and all those checking is required. So it verifies your identity in a similar way. I can probably show you a more detailed demo on it,
Mm.
not in this session,
Okay.
but later on. If you
Mm.
just drop me your email ID and just mention verify ID, I'll reach out.
Sure.
First, look at the
Mhm.
facts, what it does. Is it
Okay.
really satisfying your scenario? Then we proceed.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Since we are on this and answering the SCU questions, earlier this was pay as you go. Now it's part of your E5. You can use it in 1 day. You can use it in 20 days. It depends on how much of prompting and everything you do, right? Just like you have Claude, right? If you create 5 documents, the token expires and you have to wait for at least 3 to 4 hours to again start working and using it, right? this is not really stopping you in 3 hours. You can go on working and using the ideal way to use it is in an optimized way. Construct your prompts and everything in a very comprehensive way, so it addresses the requirements rather than splitting across four. Use one in a cap it, as you same logic you use for the Claude and Gemini's. Cap it in a certain way so it does not go endlessly in. But yeah, the service providers like Noventiq and all can help you optimize it. There's a lot of guide available already. You can start using it. If not, then we can also help. Okay. Uh, the okay point to note is it's not only for the stock part. It's also does incident summarization. It helps you hunt across your defenders. You can work on malwares. You can understand policies across your intra, your endpoint, your purview as well. So it's not only for SOC analysts. Your exchange admins will also can also leverage this. Your end user compute people who are managing, upgrading, patching your servers and devices through Intune or co-managed SCCM plus Intune can also leverage this. Okay, of course, your purview compliance people can also do it, whether understanding and optimizing DLP policies or classification policies, CASB policies, and so on. So it's across M365. What's the difference is in your when you use it with M365, you will get this in the same console in the side panel. So let's say there's purview over here, all the policy and all in the page. On the right, you will have your proactive recommendations, and of course, we can prompt and give more context and go around with it. So if you have Intune, similarly, there'll be a side column helping you out with Copilot. So that's a built-in experience in M365. Whereas if you integrate your CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, and others with this, you can still use it. But I do not have access to your CrowdStrike and so, right, in M365. So you get that black screen similar to a command shell, right? And that's where you can write and do play around with it. There will be self-help and all those preloaded things there for your help. But eventually it's a black screen. There is no charge for the amount of the number of integrations that you do. So you can have 50 different products like 2 3 on the endpoint, EDR, DLP, NAC, and your IPS, IDS, firewall, UTM, wireless solutions. Connect everything. There is no charge based on connectors. It's when you consume, when you start putting in prompts and using, that's when you consume it. So you connect everything. It understands, it learns. You can query any solution that you have integrated over here. Right. There are a couple of demos also for this. If you all then need this, then yes, you. Okay. Important point. Uh, all of you, I think the date was okay, effective from May. Yeah, but not every tenant has started seeing this because it's going country wise, or maybe I don't know what's the logic. They just mentioned it's going to be enabled from May. So I suppose by June end or July mid, all the tenants will see it in their M365 admin center. If you have your access, go to the M365 admin center. If there's a banner on top, you are now eligible and ready to use the security copilot. If not, it's not yet enabled for your tenant. And there is no logic whether they're going for India first or Mumbai first. No, it's a random enablement across the globe for E5 tenants. But yeah, in the next 2 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you by mid of July max, I think you should be able to see the security copilot enabled for your tenant. And this is an example from the Entra side. What probably you will do, what kind of prompts you will put in. And if you want to create a workflow with Copilot, Security Copilot, probably you'll just put in something like this, create a new workflow that adds all new hires to the group name, Hollywood Grove, and send a welcome email and, temporary access password. So it's going to tell you what the flow looks like, how to create, what are the next steps, and probably, yeah. Yes, it's not, if you say do full automation, it's doable, but then see the reason it's called Copilot, it's a driver, right? It's a driver along with you. You drive this thing together. It helps you understand better, drive better, and have different perspectives. But if you want to do this to act on behalf of you, then you have to either leverage agents or probably use logic apps. So you have to initiate a logic app as an action. As Logic App is a service in Azure. Okay, many of you might know this. So Logic apps can be initiated to run some scripts like remediation, like isolation, or maybe intimation, doing something in Jira, and so on. So doable, but yeah. It's a co-pilot, so it does not act everywhere on behalf of you. It tells you, helps you understand, create reports and everything. So if you say create a report and notify via email to my manager, so that's where your Logic app comes in and a Power Automate comes in, right? Because you need to shoot it at a scheduled time every week or something. So that's how that workflow gets created. All right, where was I? I think we did this. Yeah. Okay. So this is part of your E3 and E5s, right? Compliance and defenders are there. This is the part which isn't there, correct? So the AI, you pay for it separately many times. If you go with E7, it's part of that. Agent management is part of the E7. Again, you can buy it as a standalone as well. If you, let's say, have E3, can I buy agent management? Yes, you can buy. It's gonna do you more favor in terms of understanding the risk and everything. But if I have E3 and buy agent 365, can I have complete control and secure and govern? No, because you need solutions for that, like Purview and Defender. So you need the E5 in some capacity, right? To have the DLP controls, to have Defender controls. But if I don't have, can I still integrate my agent? Yes, you can still integrate your agents. I'll let me answer some more in the upcoming slides. What probably if there's still any ambiguity around that. So probably a generic slide you might have already seen. It's gonna help you monitor and manage all the agents. So there's a plane, there's a dashboard for agents in your M3 admin center, right? If you have, you can still go to M3 admin center. You can see agent 365. Click on it. All the agents currently registered in your tenant will be visible. There's no charge for that, right? The charge comes when you want to secure them, right? Okay, some English, but this is a fact what I've seen. All my customers across, especially Mumbai, Gurgaon, and Bangalore, everyone is in the on their way to deploy 3+ agents in the next 12 months. They are already evaluating custom agents. Some of them are building in-house. Many of them have subscribed or planning to subscribe to something from Salesforce or SAP or something, right? That's there. And the other ask is the DPDP. That's the trending thing. Last 1 or 2 months, that's what I'm hearing. And this is one example screen probably highlighting what kind of agents can integrate. Some examples, you might have already done few evaluations, POCs, but yeah, if I put it into more tech terms, whether it's built-in Studio, Foundry, Vertex, or any framework or OpenAI, I can integrate everything within 365. If you're trying to do it using low code, then use Copilot Studio. The easiest way, I would say more user friendly, layman terms, right? Use Copilot Studio. Automate helps you know, set things in motion, automate a lot of things. Again, I would say human friendly. You don't really need knowledge to understand what it says, what it's going to do, right? If you want to do very complex things, then use Pro Code in Azure Foundry, build on these platforms, right? Or your wish, you want to use Vertex, Bedrock. We do support everything via SDKs. It's already out there. It's already tried and tested. Microsoft has too many examples at the moment to give to you. I would say for every sort of agent, they'll have an example. I would have limited, of course, but I still have. These are the agents that my team has built already, and what I've highlighted, we have deployed already. We ourselves use this, so we are customer zero for these agents as well. And these are this built-in Studio, Agent Builder, and again Copilot Studio. And these were also built for select customers. So what it does, probably again, it's very obvious what it does. But yeah, we can build agents for you as well in the platform that you need. It's an Azure or probably a public cloud, wherever we can use that. Okay, not all agents start equal, right? The way they're deployed, the way they start being used, maybe one user across teams, across organization, not every agent starts equal. So you, as an IT admin or a security person, you need to answer probably these questions every time, right? So can you discover and manage the sprawl? Do you know how many exist in your tenant? Are they behaving correctly? Right? Is the procurement agent doing only procurement work? Or is it going beyond what it's supposed to do? right? So you need to understand who built them, who approved their access and everything. It needs to be audited, right? And who are your agents sharing the data with? Many a times, a standalone agent will probably be deployed to do repetitive tasks. So, like send out emails, send out notifications, send out the exported CSV or PDF, and so on. Is it sending it to the right people? Do you have control over that? And where does the confidential information go? Usually, if you say I have DLP and all, so many times it answers the questions, right? You have complete block. Yeah, okay, fine. There's nothing going out through your endpoint, neither through upload, print, and all fine. But shadow IT remains that still remains a gap, right? So what do you really can do with for shadow IT in your current license? If you have Agent 365, probably you can apply all the controls that you have in your EMS with respect to conditional access, right? With respect to DLP, with respect to retention, you can do that. You have to store data. Your DPDPs require you to store all sorts of data and logs for at least 1 year. That's minimum what I've read and observed so far. That hasn't changed yet. So 1 year is the bare minimum, right? Now, uh, how do I really see the shadow IT? You need to have Intune and the Entra joint device or a domain joint device with Intune. If you have this, you'll get shadow IT visibility. So these are agents which are there in your systems and really not registered in the Entra, so they don't have an agent ID. Like similar to a person using Claude in as an extension in their Chrome browser, or integrate Claude in your Word and Excel, or any AI app, any AI tool for that matter, right? Anything which is going there unmonitored, which is not registered in Entra, there are no policies or anything assigned to it, is a shadow AI, right? If you have Intune on your device, if it's managed by Intune and joined to Entra, the Agent 365 portal will show you the shadow IT. How many agents are lying there and who was using, probably what device it was seen, and so on. So you'll have at least that visibility, right? But yeah, eventually when you see that, you will want to have the control, secure it. The agent IDs will be mapped. You'll apply conditional access policies. You'll apply compliance rules to it, right? You will probably see all the purview actions, all the compliance recommendations for those AI tools, right? And there are close to 80 actions which are assigned for the AI and baselining. If I give an example, that's how the category of when you assign this particular assessment template in your M365 tenant, all the points are categorized under data management, government strategy, risk, oversight, deployment operations, monitoring and improvement, and transparency. And these are addressed via these solutions. Many of you know what these jargons and terminology are, right? This is your retention, rights management. This is the entire purview dashboard, right? Insider risk acts on top of your DLP. This is the CASB component. This is your entity access management. DSPM is a fairly new feature introduced last year. Conditional access is your IAM, right? Communication compliance is the ethics that should be followed. Rude, posh, harassment observed during prompting and communications, right? So, or if you have your current tenant and you are using AI tools, this template will be available to you. When I visit a customer, I usually probably do it myself. I assign this template to on the tenant, and probably takes probably few hours to give out the recommendations. Usually this comes out, and couple of points Microsoft already addresses by default when when you start using the end. But yeah, there are a couple of actions that you need to do via these solutions, and that helps you really secure that part, so you understand what these are, right? So probably if you want help on that part, we can assist you. But that's an inbuilt thing. That's an inbuilt guide. That's the best part of M365. It's an inbuilt guide. No need for Microsoft or any partner to tell you. If you have access to Purview and Compliance Manager, assign this right away on your tenant and wait for it. See the recommendations. If you don't understand what the recommendations are, we can discuss. We can prioritize. Okay, for 50% is remediatable. We can remediate this in the next few weeks. Another set of 20-30%, you already may have an additional investment, alternate investment, like third party DLPs, classification, threat protection, EDR. So another 20% could be, acceptable risks, right? Not everything is treatable, right? You may still have TLS 1.0 in your organization, old applications. You may still have resources which, or some products which require no MFA. I've seen that. And that really tells you, not every organization will be baseline the same way, will not be hardened the same way, right? So we'd have to understand that part. And I can also create any template from, if you share me a CSV or PDF, we can convert it to an assessment template, map it in the tenant, and probably that's sort of a customized way to do it. All right, Agent 365 is licensed per user, not on the agent. You have 10 agents today, tomorrow you'll have 50 more. People are going lean and investing in agents more. So it does not mean you pay for the agents, right? You go downsize on the user and increase agents, you still pay for the user. So if you have 100 users and maybe 50 agents or maybe 550 agents, you pay for the user. Okay. How? Because the agent either will be delegated or will have its own access, right, on behalf of a user, or a standalone access. It's based on the user. There will be a manager associated with that AI, with that agent, right? So you license the manager. So let's say out of 100, there are 10 managers also, right? Or let's say additionally plus 10 managers. And all those agents are either used by the user, or if not by the user, they are sponsored by these 10 managers. So total, you need 110 licenses of Agent 365 to to manage or get visibility and control across your 550 agents. Okay, this 110 will be for Agent 365. Okay, when you have DLP, you want to apply controls, you additionally you will need the E5 license, or you will need the DLP license, the EDR license. It's not like Agent 365 is going to do everything for you. It enables you to have visibility and apply. Okay. So if an agent is tied to an unlicensed user, the activity is not entitled to ethical protections. Right? So keep that in mind. Okay, this says that you do not have any Agent 365 license in your tenant. You will still get to register your agents, have an identity associated with it. You'll get basic insights. Shadow AI will be available to you, people who have ME3 license. So probably you'll have Intune and Entra ID. Your devices will be Entra joined, hybrid joined, and Intune managed. Right? You will still be able to do all these actions. Audit logs will be there for 180 days, right? E-discovery will be there. Retention policies will still be applied, and you'll be able to block the unsanctioned shadow agents as well. This is the native functions of M365 without this. With this, you have more usage insights. You'll be able to use Graph API, and with this, you'll be able to apply. Now, if you only buy this and you don't have this, so you cannot apply this. You need to have Agent 365, you need to have this license, you can do everything. An example over here, this is with Agent 365 with the native M365 E1 Office E3 EMS license. You get this, right? Platform to the sourcing tools, the agent ID, owner created, and so on. But now the policy coverage, I think this will not be there. The risk levels will not be there. This comes with the Agent 365 license. The trends do not come without the Agent 365 license. So if you want to understand what oversharing, what exfiltration, what unethical happened in the last 1 month, 10 days, then yes, you need the Agent 365 license. To secure them, yes, you need your E5 stack, Defender and Purview components, right? Okay. And probably the last one of the last slides is the alignment with DPDP. Many of you will also question, how does my current E3, E5, and E7 align with the DPDP? Now these are the sections that call out the different minimization, rights management, principal rights, and safeguarding requirements, breach notification requirements from the Act, and these are the solution mapping from your M365. Okay, probably probably this is your AIP. This is your retention policies, right? E-discovery retention policies. And this is identity access management, your entry ID, plan one, plan two, CASB. This is your logic apps in case you want to deal with the breach notification part, automate that breaches in, there's an incident or something. Something should, there should be people notified about that based on the alerts and so on, right? AI access control, you need Agent 365 for that. You need to create agent IDs. For more better posture management, you can leverage DSPM for that. Right? All your security safeguards is available through XDR, or you can call it Defender Suite. You can break it down as well. If you already have an EDR, look at how to secure your ADFS, ADCS, right? ADDS infrastructure, how to secure your access management, how to secure your email, OneDrive, and SharePoint in terms of threat management, and so on. You need extended audit logs for 10 years, doable. I have an add-on license that stores. I would say, out of 100 customers, there's one customer who needs it for 10 years also, audit logs especially. So they do buy that license. The count is very less, it's 1 or 2% only, but they do. So look at your, not 100, I would say 10, yeah. So look at your regulations and audit requirements. If you need extended retention, then yeah, let's call it out, right? And this is what we can do for you: an assessment, the mapping of the controls, the gaps in terms of, you know, how the privacy management is going to play, how the subject rights workflow will exist in your environment. And we can do that using an assessment, impact assessment. So the consent architecture, when you access any application, is the consent taken in the right format, in the right details captured, stored in the right container or storage or database, secured, encrypted, access controlled, everything? Is that architecture in place? This is the part, let me just stress on this. No organization really worried about consent. Still now, I would say, except for the Accentures and Godreges and Reliances, Googles and Microsofts, nobody really has deployed a full-fledged consent architecture and subject rights management, privacy management yet, I would say, for all applications throughout, covering the entire estate. So mapping of fiduciaries, principal rights, understanding if there are cross-border transfers, children's data in use. You need to classify them. You need to understand where are they. On-prem databases, Mongo, SQLs. I have, when we talk, then that's when the customer says, I do have Azure SQL also. I have a Mongo and Oracle database also sitting on premises in my data center, right? Until this conversation comes up, it's only M365. It's a OneDrive SharePoint. My user use OneDrive SharePoint. But eventually, there is some data, some children's data sitting in a MongoDB on premises also. So that mapping, that understanding has to be there. This consent architecture is not going to integrate in just your M365. It's going to integrate in your application also, right? When a user is going to access any of your application, when they submit the data, the application flow needs to be embedded with this sort of consent mechanism, right? Via API or whatever. There has to be a flow in that application access, where, I mean, a moment in that application access where it throws the consent notification. Read these points, check, okay, I submit, I consent to you storing my data for 1 year, in this region, and probably only to be used for this purpose, not beyond. And I will have access to change my details and get rid of it, or just, uh, remove it, delete it if I need it. I can, that there should be a process in place, right? So think about it. Currently I'm doing it for 3 4 customers in the west region, in Mumbai and Pune. Probably we can have a detailed discussion around that if you're not already in your DPDP journey. But this is the most critical part: the privacy management, consent management, and subject rights management. The rest of the DLPs and CASBs and EDRs, SOC, we have been dealing with for 20 years now. Everyone, like from 2000s, was working. They know about these solutions, right? It's been there. Consent management, privacy management, rights management, that's not really integrated anywhere in any of our workflows for databases, storage, when email infrastructures. It's nowhere really seen. You know the date, right? May 2027 is the deadline. You need to get compliant before May 27. So probably we have close to just over 9, 10 months now. That's all, guys. That's all from my side. I'll wrap it up. I'll probably take questions if there are any, and I'll request you to just scan this thing and share your feedback. Will It'll help us improve and maybe even connect with you if you need anything in that stack what I just told. Okay. Again, E7 is probably more relevant to customers who have AI, who have agents sitting in their premises. Well, that's when the real control is needed. Until then, you can probably harden used to because we're used to handling the DLPs and everything. But if you have agents and there is ambiguity and there's unknown things and non-visibility in your organization, E7 will make sense for you. There are trials available, and we can run through a couple of demos to understand more. So I request you to please scan this and share your feedback as well. I'll take questions. I'll stop.